If you have an online education business that sells products online, then it's often quite straightforward to double, 5x, even 10x the amount of money that you collect on an evergreen basis simply by taking the things you already have, putting them in a different order, adjusting the pricing and the offer, and then offering that same stuff back to your very same audience. And in this video, I'm going to walk you through a little case study of how one business managed to increase their monthly revenue by 11 times by doing exactly this. If you don't know me, my name is Olly Richards. I'm the founder of StoryLearning.com. It's a multi-million-dollar online education business. I'm also a mentor and advisor to other online education entrepreneurs. And what I'm going to show you here is exactly what we did with one particular business who is based on YouTube, actually. So you're in the right place for that. So the specific results we got in this case were revenue from their evergreen automated funnels increased from $1,000 a month, so a fairly low base, but nevertheless, from $1,000 to $11,000 a month by rearranging things in the way that I'm going to show you here. The fundamental reason that this is often possible is that we misunderstand who is in our audience, what they want, and their spending power, frankly. And this is especially true for businesses that operate on social media or on YouTube, because you get contact with a very large audience base, but most of them are not customers. And so what you often see, imagine that this is your entire customer base right here. And this is obviously most people, this white segment here. Most people are not your avatar. Most people also skew beginner, because relatively few people are experts at something. And most people also skew towards a low propensity to spend, because most people don't have a lot of money. And so in general, if you pay attention to your overall audience segment, people who interact with you on a regular basis, you're going to be talking to these people. But it's one of the laws of business that a certain percentage of people in your audience are always going to be keener to learn from you, more willing to buy, have a higher threshold for actually spending money, and are going to put the effort in and get more results as a consequence. So to put a pin in that, a very small number of people can be responsible for almost all of your revenue. And this holds true whether you sell low ticket stuff or higher ticket stuff. So what was happening in this particular case was that this entrepreneur was selling a very low ticket product for around $39 to people who were joining her email list. And this was happening because, as we were having these conversations, she would say, but people don't like to. People complain when stuff's too expensive. People like cheap stuff. But the reason that she had that was because she was paying attention to the kind of vocal majority of people who are complaining. And most people will complain because most people, as we spoke about before, do skew beginner. They do skew towards a low propensity to spend. So if you pay attention to these people, then that's the outcome you're going to get. Now, it's difficult for us as educators because what we want to do is to help the most number of people possible. And the idea of not paying attention to the feedback that they're giving us is difficult. But we have to draw a distinction between our public content, for example, on YouTube, where we're helping people for free, and then the actual business, which is where we get compensated for the work that we do. And so we started to think through this theory and apply that to her business. And we thought, well, is there a segment of customers inside your business that is willing to spend more money? And as we looked at the history of promotions inside the business, we saw that there was a history of people who would buy bundles of products for north of $1,000. And so we identified that seemed to be true. There was a segment of people who were perfectly happy to spend. And so what we did was we tested the idea, well, what happens if we take people who are joining your email list here, and we take the offer that we are making them at the beginning, and instead of offering this $39 product, what about if we offer something much more expensive, much more comprehensive, so that we can meet these people where they are? And so the funnel that was running previously looked a little bit like this. It was a $39 product at the beginning, and they were selling around 25 of those a month, making $1,000 in revenue. If this was a legacy, it was something that had been in place for many, many years and had never really been examined, because when the entrepreneur looked at this, she thought, well, there's not much money being made from these automated emails, so there's not much point actually doing much with them, right? But that, of course, is missing the fact that all of those people exist, and people who have a high propensity to spend, guess what? They're not particularly attracted by the prospect of a $39 offer. It was a small, very focused course as well that wasn't necessarily relevant to everybody. So the offer that was being made was not relevant to the best customers, and so this was the results they were getting. What we managed to do was offer a series of products with different options on the front end with an average ticket value of $397, so 10 times what was being charged previously, made the same number of sales, 29 versus 25, over the course of 1 month this is. But as you can see, the net result in the revenue was the revenue also went up 11 times from 1,000 to over 11,000. And you see this kind of behavior, this kind of pattern across so many different types of business. And you'd think, well, if I raise the price by 10 times, less people are going to buy. But in fact, the opposite happens, because what you do now is you present people, you present your best customers with something that they can actually take seriously. And much like Gucci handbag, the higher the price, the more people tend to want it, and the more seriously they think about it as a potential solution to the whatever problem is that they are looking to solve. So depending on the business that you're in and the offers you have, you're gonna have to approach the question of creating something of higher value in different ways. But if you've been around for a while and you've got lots of assets, then it can be really good to have a whiteboard session and figure out, well, what can we actually offer? The thing that works so often in many cases is saying, how can I offer a full solution? So rather than offering a little mini course, back in the day, they used to say, well, offer something like a tripwire, right? Something really cheap and something really good so people can learn to trust you, and then they'll buy your more expensive thing. That's not necessary in today's world. In today's world, you can lead with something that's much more expensive. And if you've done your marketing properly, the way that I teach you in my case study, which is linked in the description below, then you can actually build trust in advance. So people are perfectly happy, or the right people are perfectly happy to pay $397 for something up front. So what we did in this particular case was we had an offer this was the $39 product that was going out to people. But what we realized was actually, within this, we've got different segments. We've got a beginner segment, we've got an intermediate segment, and we've got an advanced segment. This refers to the skill of the thing that this entrepreneur is teaching. When we looked around at the different assets that this entrepreneur had, she didn't have complete solutions or full robust solutions for these different audience segments, because she'd always been tending towards these small mini products, again based on the belief that people didn't want to spend that much money. And so the hypothesis was, well, we know we have high paying customers, and what high paying customers want often when they first meet you is a complete solution, or a full robust solution to their problem. So why don't we actually develop a full training course for the beginner, for the intermediate, for the advanced? And so what was previously being offered as one single product, we now split it out into 3. So we had a separate course for beginner, intermediate, and advanced. Because it was a more robust course, we were able to raise the price from $39 to $397. But what you can also do by creating models like this is that you can also offer a bundle of all of these, and the price was something like $897 or something like that. And a certain proportion of those good customers will also go for the bundle, which just drags up your average order value. And so when I said earlier that with your existing audience, with your existing assets, you can often make huge changes to the business. In this case, 11xing the revenue that they had on a monthly basis just from making these changes. Changes like this can be made easily and simply and completely transform the business that you are operating. And it all comes down to understanding business fundamentals like principles of price elasticity, customer segments, all of these kind of things. But this might feel like a big decision to start rearranging your entire front-end funnel. And if you want to know how I think through making these kind of big business decisions, this video over here, I walk you through the whole process. It's a 3-step process that whenever I'm considering a new investment of any kind or a big piece of work, I walk through these stages in order to get to a yes or a no.